Hey guys, Victor here. I'm going to try something new with some live commentary and hand analysis. The hand I'm going over today is a hand I played against Andy Stacks earlier last year on Hustler Casino Live on the Wednesday game. This was my second time on Hustler, my first time being playing on Max Payne Monday and losing 20k. And I was down quite a bit going into this session, or at this point in the session as well. But let's jump into the hand and then we'll go into some analysis. All right, so the game that we're playing is 25, 50, 100 with a 100 big blind ante. There is the stand-up game on as well, so each button is worth $300. And if you've never played stand-up game before, basically every time you win a hand, you get one of these yellow buttons, and then you've effectively won the game. And then the last person who doesn't have a yellow button has to pay everyone else $300. So I think we were 9-handed. So basically, if you lose the game, that's losing 2.4K. So, and it's worth noting that at this point at the night as well, I'm down like maybe 15K. Andy Stacks, who I'm playing against, is also down piles. And we're the last two without a button in the stand-up game, which will be very, very relevant in this hand.
And you guys know how we get this.
Of course.
Yeah.
No refunds on the tips.
Fair game, fair game.
It's a racist, you.
Call.
Cool. Would have been pretty nice if Sammy likes the button. A little tip.
And you guys know how we get this.
Of course.
Yeah.
No refunds on the tips.
Fair game, fair game.
It's a racist, you.
Call.
Cool.
You call, I'm gonna cross the line.
That was shuffling. Here, guys. Here, guys.
Sammy,
All right.
don't chat and drive. That's dangerous.
You raise. 30.
For those of you who don't know, by the way, not only is Sammy an amazing dealer, but the dude is an absolute beast when it comes to poker tournaments.
Did we just go?
36. 50. Discount? Discount.
You're playing?
3-bet here from Stan.
Huh?
Pepe calls.
What is it?
For real?
Victor calls.
Yeah,
3 on?
Andy calls.
$50 more.
CD.
What's going on?
What is going on
I
exactly?
understand, like, how many people are doing this?
1,000 people.
4 players.
The hell? For real?
This feels like something the king would like, right? 5-way action, $3,000 each.
I was
Actually,
about ready to play with you.
$36.50 each.
Who cares?
Nobody's got a great hand.
All right, I'll let you guys do this.
So a lot to talk about here pre-flop. I'm in +1 and just made kind of like a standard raise size with ace-jack suited, which in this game and at this stage of the night, with especially being without a button, is basically like a super premium. So love to see it. I don't necessarily need a hand because I'm gonna be looking to play a lot of hands when I'm at risk of losing 2.4k if I lose the net game. You can see I only had like 24k, 23k in my stack. So it's 10% of my stack for losing the button game. And then Andy flatted behind. So I guess if we go back a sec, yeah. So Andy flatted, and I expect Andy to call with or VPIP 100% of hands in this scenario. Where again, if I'm playing and like if I folded, he could definitely have some folds in his range. But when I'm raising or putting money in, he wants to kind of like fight me in the net game or the stand-up game. So I expect him to play 100% of hands. The fact that he didn't raise, I just feel like if he had any decently strong or playable hand, he'd be raising at a decent percentage of the time. So the fact that he just flatted, I saw Andy pretty capped with this, and even King 8 of Hearts was stronger than I really put him on in this scenario. The king is just a wild player. He's just acting crazy all night. I don't know if he was drunk or high, but I mean, there's a bunch of highlight reels out there on YouTube of him. But yeah, this is not surprising seeing him call with 7-4. Stan raising here with Queen 9 and 3-betting was quite surprising when I saw the hand he chose, because he was pretty quiet and tight all night. We were probably like 10-15 minutes left in the stream at this point. So I actually thought he had a premium when he chose to 3-bet in this spot. But seeing him show up with Queen 9, maybe he was just getting bored, tired, antsy, wanted to make something happen before the stream ended. And then Pepe, this guy who called, we had been battling a bit throughout the night. I was on his direct left, so I was 3-betting him sometimes, just playing aggressive in some pots. He was shown a propensity to not really not really want to fold a lot of the time, calling pretty light. So also not surprised to kind of see him float pretty light. He's quite a loose player. But yeah, let's get back to the action. Basically, Stan 3-bet. Everybody called except for the king, which was surprising given the odds and kind of and the stack that he had. But when it came to me on the decision whether or not to call the 3-bet, so you can tell I was like thinking here for a little bit, and I wasn't thinking about folding. I was just deciding if I wanted to jam. I mean, there was a lot of money already in the middle, 10K. I had 23K behind. So I was just deciding whether jam or call would be the best decision here. I mean, just playing 5 ways with ace jack, you don't love it. So I probably prefer a jam in retrospect. But the main thing is I was just scared of kind of like like Stan having a premium in this case because he had been so tight most of the night. So that's what pushed me towards calling in the end. And let's go to a flop.
This side.
Crazy.
10 high flop, 2 clubs out there. Pepe has the best hand.
Check.
Crazy.
Check.
Who wants it?
Check.
Andy's going to take a shot at it. There's $15,000 in the pot. He said, you guys don't want it? I'll take a shot at it.
Over.
Power of position. They check to Andy. Andy goes, okay, you guys don't want it. I'll try to win it. He doesn't need this bet to win the pot that often to make it profitable.
This is a crazy ass hand.
The problem with Victor's spot here, I mean, unless it just moves all in, is what's the plan?
Have fun.
Right? I mean,
Fun at the weather's San Francisco.
it's a pretty ugly flop for your hand, right? If you weren't going to take a shot at it, what's the plan now?
¿Quieres jugar el sábado?
He's going to call.
Heads up.
Cool. So the flop's interesting. I mean, we have 10-5 deuce. I mean, bricked everybody who was here on the flop, who made it to the flop. There's 20K in the middle, so quite a lot in there. I was really surprised to see Stan check, and I think as soon as he does, I just feel like he's got absolutely nothing. I feel like you've got a SPR of 1. If you have a good hand, like any overpair, you definitely want to put some more money in. So I just feel like he kind of whiffed and is just like giving up. Pepe has shown kind of like a propensity to be more aggro, loose, and I also felt like if he had a decent hand, he would just be betting here, especially when the pre-flop aggressor checked to him. So at this point, I don't think Stan and Pepe have much once they both check. And then checks to me, and then, I mean, I'm kind of happy to just check here, see if we can check it through with just my ace high. I guess there's some merit for betting, and just to prevent myself from getting, I guess, bluffed, and potentially having the best hand at this point with ace jack high. But I think in game, just because like SPR was 1, I just didn't really want to put more money in case I was behind and just have to kind of like force call off against some pair, even though I'm not doing too badly, even if somebody has hit a pair here. So anyways, I decided to check, and then Andy bets, and I think I think with this 3 string of checks to him, he pretty much knows, like, thinking the same thing, that like all of our ranges are pretty capped. Maybe 1 pair at best, but probably a bunch of whiffs, given that none of us bet. And he's got king high and wants to win this hand. He's got position and he wants to win the stand-up game, can very likely take it down with just 1 bet. He decides to bet. Stan and Pepe pretty quickly fold. And then I didn't realize I was thinking that long in game. I think time just passes weirdly when you're in a spot. This is also a lot of money. I mean, I've only played in a couple sort of like higher stakes games in my life, so was definitely kind of like putting more thought to each decision. But it kind of came down to the fact that I knew Andy would basically have like 100% of hands pre-flop practically, just given the stand-up game. And knowing that, like, or just thinking through, if all 3 of us check to him, is he still betting 100% of hands? And I still think the answer to that is yes, that he's still betting 100% of hands. So knowing this, like, I should be calling with ace high, and in my head I'm like, oh, but like, what if he had a pair? He has some random 10, 5 deuce, which is perfectly possible. But I've still got equity with ace jack, and he has a lot of just like non-pairs as well that will bet, so I can just have the best hand a lot of the time. So I wasn't calling necessarily thinking that he would be giving up, but just given that if he's playing 100% of hands here, that I just have the best hand a decent amount of time. So anyways, decide to call the flop, hoping that he might just give up and we could check down, and but otherwise just see what comes on the turn and make a decision.
There's $27,000 in the pot now. I mean, that's about as good a turn card as you're going to get. If you're not going to hit a jack or an ace, it's not getting much better than a 5.
Big spot on the turn. The pot is 27K. I've got 0.5 SPR behind, so basically half of the pot, and Andy decides to go all in. So yeah, you hear the commentator say that like a 5, like a paired, any sort of like paired card or pairing the board is kind of like one of the best case scenario. It just makes it less likely now that Andy has a 5, which is really what I'm worried about. Is just him having like some random pair that's beating my ace high. So it's less likely he has a 5 now. I mean, obviously he can still have a 10, but also all his bluffs are still bluffs right now. And I do expect that he probably just continues with them, especially given the fact that took so long to call on the flop. Again, I didn't realize how long I took, but at least I didn't think I looked very strong. So knowing that, I expect him to basically just continue with all his bluffs on the turn.
I mean, after you hem-haw that long, like, I mean, it was, I mean, a pretty easy live read, right, guys? I mean, I know I can see the cards, but it certainly looked like Victor was weak, right? He checks the flop when it comes to him. He was second to last to act, and he barely calls. Look at Victor. This is just a fucking call, isn't it? This is just a fucking call. I love it. Come on, Victor, stick it in. Yeah, Victor!
Just go once, yeah.
Andy needs a king or an 8 on the river.
It's either all in or none.
No, it's another 5. Ace Jack is good. That was great. I mean, if Victor was going to make the call on the turn, which he did, it's no problem calling the flop, you know? But you can't.
I have 100 on the. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Nice job. Victor, by the way, just won $31,000 in that hand.
Oh, man.
He had ace high, and he won $31,000.
I'd be so sick.
That's sick.
Gangster though, both of you guys, straight up. That's gangster shit though.
Let's go, Victor. That is a great call.
Once the 5 came, I basically knew I was calling, but it was just, I was kind of like, I took a while to call here just because I was trying to get the like emotional courage to stick $14,000 in with ace high. I think definitely the biggest call I've made with ace high in terms of dollar value. And yeah, we ended up sticking it in, and we ended up being right. Andy says, nice call, and that was that. Let me know what you guys think of that little commentary / hand review. It was definitely a fun way to end the stream that day for me. I think I went down from like down 15k to like up like 15 16 k after that hand, and booked my first win at Hustler Casino. Anyways, I'm out. Catch you guys next time.